Many dogs find it scary if people just start talking to them, maybe even reaching for them. That's what happens to Carmen, our dog for today's episode of A Dog's Soul, an Empath's Guide to Your Dog's Feelings. And we'll see how Carmen could learn that strangers talking to her aren't actually that dangerous. So stay tuned and have fun. Alright, so Carmen is a 7-year-old Romanian mix and has been in the family for 5 years. And in the beginning, she had a lot of fears. And her parents told me that she had lost pretty much all of them except for one. And that's a very persistent one. Whenever a person talks to her, she gets scared, tries to hide or flee, not in a panic, but quickly, and if she can't, she lunges, barks, and snaps at the person. Now, I haven't met Carmen yet. I just got this question. And one of my first questions would be, is she fine with strangers touching her? Because talking could be a precursor for touching, and that could be the reason she's reacting this way. But also, talking humans are sometimes really impolite to dogs. They are leaning over the dog, they are reaching for the dog, they're clapping their thighs to encourage the dog to come to them, they're staring directly at the dog, they're smiling, so showing the teeth, and all of that is meant nicely, right? It's not like the person is trying to scare the dog. Some people do, but that's not normal, right? Usually, people try to encourage the dog to just come to them and interact with them in one way or another. But from the dog's perspective, this is scary. And tell me in the comments what your dog thinks about people doing that. I would love to know. So, know that this is fear. Carmen is anticipating something bad coming from the person. That can be because of what people usually do after they talk to her, or something happened in her previous life, like getting caught off the street, I don't know. Or she can't place the strange behavior these humans do, right? That could also be something. If she didn't have that many experiences as a puppy with humans, maybe she just can't place it. And that can lead to her being a little timid around people behaving this way. Now, we can't ask her, right? Her parents did not tell me her history. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they know. I don't. If we start training, I will ask. But it doesn't change that much about training, to be honest. We know it's fear. It's obviously fear, right? If a dog tries to hide or run, it's fear. So she needs something to do that can guarantee her safety from her perspective. So it doesn't help if we tell her everything's fine. She has to experience everything's actually fine. She has to feel safe. Now, hiding isn't such a bad idea, actually, because if she hides and she feels safe, she would not feel the need to go at the person. So her parents could actually use that and teach her a step behind me and get rewarded there. That way, the parents could act as a shield and the person could not just reach for Carmen and Carmen could feel safe. Everybody wins, right? What could also help a lot is an automatic recall into this safe position. That would be a great option if Carmen encounters such a person. She's off leash, right? Because when she's off leash and she is a little further away from her parents, she can't just hide behind them. But she might come across another dog parent or just some person hiking or whatever. And an automatic recall would mean that whenever she sees a stranger, she would automatically run up to her parents, no matter what the person does. So seeing the person would trigger the recall. That way, she would be safe. So we would not wait for something to happen. We would not wait for the person to be impolite to her and then have her already experience a fear and then, no, that's no use. We want her to see a stranger, come back to mom, right? And then they can either walk toward that person together or walk another way or whatever. But they're doing it together. And since she has already overcome so many of her fears, I don't think it takes that much. So she has already experience with overcoming fear, and that helps a lot with anti-fear training, right? And still, general confidence training, de-stressing, all those nice additional things we can do might still be a good idea. And they can be done as enrichment, right? So whenever you're looking for something your dog can do, like mental exercises or mental and physical exercises, you want your dog to just have a hobby. You can do things that increase your dog's confidence, right? And to keep everybody safe, I would also do muzzle training, at least until she's fluent with her new strategy. And it might be overdoing it a little bit, but I think the risk is not worth it, right? A person getting bitten, it's a big deal. Even if it wasn't intentionally or anything, or if it wasn't a bad injury or whatever, it's just something that shouldn't happen. And if there is a risk for that, I would do muzzle training. Who knows? Maybe she already knows a muzzle. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't, and I think it's a good idea for every dog to know a muzzle and to wear it freely, because you never know when you're gonna need it. You might, in my country, for example, whenever you want to ride in a taxi with your dog, your dog needs to be muzzled, or in a bag. If you have a big dog, the bag might be tricky. So you need to have a muzzle on your dog. Now, what if your car breaks down and you need to go to the vet? That might be a 1 in a million shot, but you never know, right? Or you need to use public transportation. In my country, your dog needs to be muzzled. Or your dog hurts himself, I don't know, playing whatever. And the vet needs to examine the wound and it's really painful and your dog snaps. A muzzle in that situation can either be something your dog's already familiar with and it's not additionally stressful, or it's a whole new level of horror for your dog. So I am a big fan of muzzle training. And again, if it's well done, it can be enriching for your dog. You're just doing a fun game together, right? So this is something I would do as well. And keep in mind that outside eyes might see more. So while this might seem like the only thing that's left for Carmen, the strangers talking to her, maybe in a behavior consultation, we would uncover something else that's bothering her. So something that either contributes to the situation or is unrelated completely, but still something that we could improve for her. It doesn't have to be. Sometimes it's just a little tweak like stepping behind mom and dad, right? And sometimes there are some other little things that just turn up. Now, if Carmen's parents wanted her to interact with the people who act impolitely toward her, it would take a lot more practice and different strategies. Like teaching her that these gestures do not mean anything threatening. And yes, that might be possible. It really depends on the dog and the experiences the dog has already made. And I'd have to get more information about Carmen and probably would have to try it. But in many cases, it's possible to teach a dog that these things are not as dangerous as they seem. And if Carmen's parents are really into training and they want to do everything, right? Then of course they could do that as well. It always depends on what your goal is. Training depends on where you are now, where you want to go, and what skills you and your dog bring already. How your relationship works, how your day-to-day life is. So all of these things go into a plan. That's why a plan in the beginning makes so much sense. It just gives you something that you can follow. And yes, you can change the plan, right? And you can adjust and you can just tweak it here and there. But it's like if you use GPS to get to wherever you want to go in your car. If you just start driving and you don't know where you go, you end up nowhere. If you know where you go, but you have no idea how to get there, you end up nowhere. What you need is, you need to know where you want to go and how to get there. Then you will arrive at your destination as quickly as possible. And yes, training's fun. I love training. But the things I really need with my dogs and the things my clients really need with their dogs, I want to get them trained as fast as possible. And for that, a plan really, really helps. So try it out. Write down where you want to go and how you want to get there, and have fun training. We'll see each other next time. Bye.